Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Whitney and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Tennille.
And I'm Whitney, and today we are in the year of 1951 with another catch-up film. And we are watching Amazon Symphony from Brazil. Mm-hmm. In fact, it is Brazil's first animated theatrical film.
Yeah.
And it was neat.
It was neat. It's all filmed completely in black and white, which is a damn shame because I really think this film's true potential could have shown a bit better if it was in color. Mm-hmm. But there is not a color version of it.
I do also want to say, before we get too far, thank you to both Michael Ray and Hathor for finding this film.
Fantastic.
Michael Ray found a version with online subtitles that we could use, but then Hathor contacted us later and had translated it themselves because they speak the local language.
Yeah.
So we actually are using the version that Hathor sent to us.
Wow, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so, okay, first things first, this film is very clearly inspired by Fantasia.
Absolutely.
Fleischer Brothers animations.
Mm-hmm. Other early Disney stuff as well.
Absolutely. But definitely also brings, like, its own flavor to things. It's telling more local folk tales to Brazil in, like, you know, the Amazon.
Yeah, it's all about the Amazon and various myths and lores based in that area.
I think where this film mostly falls short is that you can kind of tell that the animator was learning as he was working on this film. Because...
And, yeah, I guess that's an important thing to note. This whole movie was animated by one guy.
It took 6 years.
Uh-huh.
It took 6 years to create. It was all directed and animated by Nelio Latini Filho, which I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but that's my best approximation of how to say it.
Okay.
And then photography for the film was done by his brother, Mario. So this film was really only put together by like a small crew. Mm-hmm. Mostly this one guy.
Mostly this one guy with a few other people to come in and do like voice acting or ink and paint and stuff like that, but mostly him.
Yeah, and like I said, the shortcoming of the film is that you can kind of tell he was learning as he was putting the film together. Not in a huge crazy way, but there's just sometimes where like some shots are too slow. Like the animation is too slow. Or sometimes the animation is extremely limited. But then sometimes the animation looks really good. So there's just that variety and quality that either could be from just the fact that this was animated by one person. Some shots got more attention than others.
Yeah.
He might not have had a great way to review what his animation looked like. You know, even in the 50s, being able to see the animation that you've done and seeing how it will play on actual film was something that was, like, not easy to access. Mm-hmm. And it, like, just took time and more money, so who knows if he had that kind of equipment to be able to review his own stuff. And, you know, it also is probably due to some sort of lack of experience.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, how about I go over a plot synopsis so we can know what this movie was actually about?
Sure.
So, the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie is actually just live action showing
the behind the scenes.
Anelio making the film and going through every single step that it took him to make this film, which was really cool.
Smart move to do at the beginning because it does like make you go like, whoa. Like obviously as an animator, I'm like, yeah. I trust me, I know. But even still, I have a whole ton of respect for it because it's just like, this is back in a time where, you had to draw everything on paper and then from the paper, move it to celluloid, paint the celluloid, photograph every single frame.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
It's an entire process.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so that's how the movie starts. And then we get into the film itself, and we have like 5 to 10 minutes of mostly just panning backgrounds with narration over the top of it, talking about the creation of the Amazon in like a mythological sense.
Right.
And then eventually we get to a point where there's a chieftain who's in love with a princess gal or lady or whatever, and she's like, yes, let's make love, but we have to wait until we need night to exist, because that is the intimate time.
Yes.
So the chieftain sends his 3 bravest warriors up the river to find, I think it was Big Snake?
Yeah.
Big Snake, who is the mother of the princess.
Something like that.
And Big Snake is guarding a nut, and inside the nut is night, the concept of night. And so the warriors go and they get the nut, and Big Snake's like, don't open it. But then they're curious and they open it, and they release night upon the world, which creates, the 2 dynamics of the universe of like night and day, and
night predators come out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like introduces the second half of the Amazon.
Yes.
Essentially. But hey, the chieftain and the princess can finally have some fun time because it's night.
Yes.
The next section, we follow a young warrior kid. I don't know if this is the child of the chieftain and the princess, or if he's just completely unrelated.
I don't know.
But he's going around, and he rides around in a lily pad with the help of a talking river dolphin.
Yeah.
And they just kind of experience various animals and stuff. At one point, they see like a prankster deity, and they're like, well, don't want to run into him, otherwise you'll have bad luck forever.
Yeah.
Or something. And then
they also hear the story about the bird who used to be a warrior.
Yes. I had forgotten about that. But like a warrior who had flown up into the sky and grabbed a lightning bolt to give fire to his people, and then he turned into a bird.
Yeah.
And then there's also the story / more so dance sequence of the animals. The monkey stole the jaguar's pelt and its leg bone, and then they danced in its pelt, and so we just had like a dance sequence with a bunch of animals. And then the jaguar comes along and she's like, give me my clothes.
Right. And my leg.
And my leg back. And so that's amusing. And then the last segment, there was a giant piece of dialogue on the screen, and I honestly wasn't paying attention close enough, so I don't really remember what's going on, but the big snake is swallowing the earth or something, and all the animals are running around, and then the kid is taken away by the river dolphin up the river, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, so, like, it's a lot of segments talking about, folklore and stuff like that. I will say also that, like, I'm sure these depictions of native peoples are not the best. They kind of seem to lean on stereotypes. I don't think this is done maliciously.
No.
But it is worth pointing out that it's just like, I don't think this is great.
Yeah, I think the designs could have been a bit better, but, like, I also don't know.
And this was made, like, by one guy, so...
Yeah, it was made by one guy.
Anyway, I kind of just want to talk about the history of Brazilian animation here for a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So, Brazil has made a handful of short films since 1917.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so they've
in the middle
been,
of World War I.
So they've been on the train for a while now.
Yeah.
But this is just the first theatrical film.
The oldest surviving Brazilian animation that we know of is Macaco Feio, Macaco Bonito, which is Ugly Monkey, Pretty Monkey. And that one was done in 1928.
Okay.
So there are some shorts before this that seem to be lost to time. Unfortunately. There was also Louis Sa did a couple of films based on, I think their character is called Virgilino, because he did The Adventures of Virgilino in 1938, and then a couple of other shorts after that. Humberto Moreau introduced some animated puppets and characters with a short film called The Good Dragon in 1940.
Okay.
And then there was just like a handful of other like short film projects that were done. But then Anelio and his brother Mario worked on their own studio together and started working on this film, which eventually came out in 1951. Like I said earlier in the episode, it took 6 years to complete. It was basically completely animated by Anelio, and his brother did the photography. And also, like, a positive, surprising thing I found is that this film did pretty well. Like, it did well with critical reception and actually got a decent amount of audience attention in Brazil, but was not able to make a profit back, which is not surprising, but I am glad that it was well received at the time.
Yeah, recognized. And again, within the last few years, there's been some level of preservation on the film.
Yeah, which is great to see.
Yes. So that, like, it's held on to.
Mm-hmm. And I can't really say that this film, like, kicks off a surge of animation, but Brazil does have a small, like, but present animation presence. So, you know, Brazil will continue releasing short films, and we'll probably see some other movies from them down the line, but it's cool that we finally got to go back and see Brazil's first animated film.
Absolutely. I'm very happy that we were able to see this.
Yeah.
Again, it's neat. I don't know if it's super high on my recommendation list, other than the fact that it is Brazil's first film.
Yeah, and I think another thing that kind of holds it back is that it doesn't have the music really making the animation pop like the way Fantasia does.
Mm-hmm. It's attempting to do it, but again, it's one guy doing it, and he still seems pretty new at the whole experience.
Mm-hmm. I would have loved to see him like give this another shot or see what he does down the line. Because yeah, definitely has potential. It is a little dull, and you can tell that, like, there's some, like, first movie hiccups here. But very impressive for Brazil's first animated film.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so quick change of plans. The movie we were supposed to watch can only be viewed and rented in Germany, so we'll have to hold off a little bit longer before we watch that one. So instead, join us back here next time as we watch Benny's Bathtub from 1970, Denmark.
See you then.